I'm just wondering why they sent it to Ag. I guess because it's got to be.
So from my understanding, naming and designating is the first stop.
Good afternoon. The House Agricultural and Natural Resources Subcommittee for February the 11th, 2026 is called to order. And members, I will ask you to please sign in if you have not, and we will take the roll. Clerk, please take the roll. Before we begin our business, well, tell us, yeah, you need to announce that for us. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, you have 9 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, before we begin our business, are there any personal orders or announcements? Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like for you and the members committee would help me make welcome a couple of mayors I've had in the audience. City Mayor of Bolivar, Tennessee, McTizick, and also County Mayor, Mayor Massey from Madison County. Help make me welcome, if you will.
Welcome, gentlemen, and we're so glad that you're here today. Are there any other personal orders or announcements? Yes, Chairman Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is a somewhat sorrowful day for me, but I'm happy. Congratulations for you. I did enjoy chairing this committee for the past 3 years, but look forward to working with you as the new chairman, and anything I can do to help be a support, I want to support you in that way. But also, Mr. Matizik out there that Representative Shaw recognized. He's actually running for state representative, and several of us are excited to see that over there in the Bolivar area. So we're going to do everything we can to see that he makes his way up here. So with that, I welcome you as well from West Tennessee.
All right. Anybody, any other announcements or personal orders? All right. Without any further announcements, let me take care of some housekeeping. With the change in our meeting time, our practice will be to begin the meeting 5 minutes after the business and utility ends. And so if they end at 3:15, we're starting at 3:20. So you'll want to keep your eye on what that committee is doing with regard to that. In addition, the witness card deadline will be 4:30 the day before the committee meets. And lastly, item 6, House Bill 1155 will be rolled 1 week. And with that, members, that leaves us 6 items on the calendar. And item number 1 on your agenda is House Bill 1631 by Representative Boyd. Motion second. Representative Boyd, you have a motion and a second, and you may now present your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman, I just want to say it's an honor to be before this committee and before you, the first time you get a chance to chair it. So it's great to be before you guys today. So this is a terrific bill that was brought to us by the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. It is the result of an audit finding regarding the Tennessee State Fair. It basically deletes the section of code that references the Tennessee State Fair and Exposition Commission and replaces it with a section calling it the Tennessee Agriculture Fair and Livestock Show, and it would move that authority to the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. There's a few other things in there that are more cleanup in nature, and I won't get into all the details on that unless you want me to, but I hope you'll take my word for it, Mr. Chairman.
First of all, you have to be recognized before we can have a question on the bill. Are you wanting to be recognized?
Yes, sir.
Representative Shaw.
Recognize question on the bill.
Question on the bill. All right, we're ready to vote. And at this time, there's no further questions. We're doing that. Clerk, would you open up the vote? Has every member voted? Does anyone wish to change their vote? Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 9 ayes, 0 nays.
House Bill 1631 moves to the full committee. Okay. House Bill 1632 by Representative Langford. Okay. Motion and second. Representative Langford, you have a motion and a second, and you may present your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. It is a pleasure to present House Bill 1632 before you today. It comes to us as an administration bill, and this legislation will streamline and modernize the Dry Cleaner Environmental Response Program, eliminating inefficiencies, creating conditions for faster, more effective investigations and cleanups, better use of state resources, and easier navigation for participants. It does that in a few ways. It establishes time frame from which the recently closed facilities are to apply for fund eligibility, more effective investigations and cleanups by eliminating current reimbursement process and allowing the commissioner to use his discretion on those reimbursements. And finally, this legislation updates the definition of release and wholesale distributor, establishes proper facility closure procedures, and the procedure that must be followed to be fund eligible, changing best management practices to be enforceable, operational requirements affecting the fund eligibility. So basically, it makes the government operate a little more efficiently, closes a few loopholes, and allows the business owners that pay into this fund to be able to use that fund.
All right, with that explanation, are there any questions from the committee? Representative Fritz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just congratulations on being here and congratulations on presenting a bill.
Okay. Representative, Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a couple of questions. Primarily, what are the 3 primary chemicals that dry cleaners use that may cause these issues that this fund is used for?
Representative Langford.
Thank you for that question. So we have TCE, trichloroethylene, and PCE, perchloroethylene are the main 2, and those come to us from mainly the 1970s and 80s when we had lesser regulations. The danger of those is that they're very small molecules and they easily make their way through the concrete, porous structures and into the groundwater, creating these plumes that move around. So.
Chairman Todd.
Appreciate that explanation. What's the primary difference chemically, like with the molecule between those two?
Representative Langford.
It's a very good question. I may have to defer to the department that's here with us today for that question.
All right. Representative Todd. Chairman Todd.
So we're to assume that you don't know the answer to that?
Representative Langford.
I won't say I don't know the answer, but I'd rather let the experts speak on that.
Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that we roll this 2 spaces until we get that answer.
Motion to be rolled and without objection. Rolled 2 spaces. Now we're moving on to House Bill 2030 by Chairman Faison. Motion and a second. It's the 3rd item on our agenda. Chairman Faison, you have a motion and a second, and you may present your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee. I'm so proud to be with y'all. Point of personal privilege, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind. My very first committee I served on was 16 years ago, was the Ag Committee. And I got to serve with Representative Shaw. He's been on the Ag Committee before that, 65 years before I got here. And I've been here 16 years. So I'm not sure how many years that is, but he's been here at least close to 100 years on that committee. And this is his last year as it is my last year. And I'm just proud to be back together with you on this committee.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman Faison, since you invoked the name of Mr. Shaw, I will yield to you if you would like to respond to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't going to bring this up, but but since we started, and Chairman Faison's been my friend all of this 65 years. We've been good friends. Should I tell it?
Chairman Faison, you're recognized.
I just want to pass my bill.
Never mind. I won't tell it.
We'll look forward to that at another time. Chairman Faison, present your bill, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, very good to be with y'all. Over the years, Tennessee has a huge history of raccoon hunting. And it's something that's loved from whether you're in West Tennessee, where my friend Chairman Todd is from, or all the way to East Tennessee, where I'm from. It's part of our heritage. Several decades ago, there were people in Tennessee who got active with raccoons, and they petitioned the state to do some protection with them. And so we have counties all throughout Tennessee with different laws and different abilities. And for people who are into raccoon hunting, that's kind of a difficult thing to navigate. We have counties with certain laws just for them, other counties that you can't hunt at all. And so this bill just simply says we're going to take everything away that was in the TCA and allow the TWRA to control what takes place with coon hunting.
All right, you've heard the explanation, but he invoked the name of Chairman Todd. Do you have anything that you need to? All right, then I'll recognize Representative Shaw again.
Could you tell us what month this raccoon? It's not going to be in February.
Representative Faison. Chairman Faison.
Give me just a second, Your Honor. I can't find it, sir, but surely it won't be February.
Representative Shaw.
How do you prove to us it won't be February?
Chairman Faison.
Mr. Chair, Representative Shaw, it will take probably 5 weeks for me to get this to the House floor. That means this will at least be enacted not until March. So we will skip the month of February.
All right. Any other questions? Chairman Grills. All right. Question's been called for, and we're ready to vote. If you're in favor of House Bill 2030, then you would vote aye. And if not, you would vote no. We will start the voting. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? All right, the clerk would please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 1 aye, 0 nays, 1 present not voting.
House Bill ayes and
0 nays, 1 present not voting.
Okay.
Excuse me.
House Bill 2030 moves on to the full committee. House Bill 2017 by Leader Cochran. There's a motion and a second. It's the fourth item on our agenda. Leader Cochran, you may present your bill.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. House Bill 2017 is actually extremely similar as far as in the general theme as what Chairman Faison just presented. And so it essentially just states as a blanket policy, it prohibits local governments from regulating the manner and means of taking wildlife. It reaffirms with what I would argue is really already in state law, that authority over hunting methods rests with the Fish and Wildlife Commission, not local governments. It reaffirms actually a 2013 opinion from the Tennessee Attorney General, which stated that municipalities may regulate firearm discharge only if those ordinances do not conflict with those state hunting laws, and then the commission regulations by TWRA. So that's really the crux of the bill. And I'll stand for questions. There may be testimony as well, but however you would like to proceed, Mr. Chairman.
All right. You've heard the explanation. We do have a guest that is here as a witness, but before we have that witness, is there anyone that has a question for the sponsor? Okay. Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Bill. When I read through it, Representative, I just saw that it looked like perhaps some municipalities were doing things that prevented the hunter from being able to hunt according to state law. Is that the general context? Did I understand that correctly?
Leader Cochran.
That's correct, Representative.
Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you give an example which counties are being referenced in that assertion that you just made?
Leader Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was a recent court case in Sweetwater, Tennessee, which is in Monroe County, and so there was the ruling by that judge implied that there needed to be clarity in state law. Again, I would argue that precedent is already there, but since that came up in the court case, this is providing that clarity that state law ultimately governs hunting.
Representative Jones.
Is that the only county that comes to mind that would be impacted by this legislation?
Leader Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No. So, essentially, it would be blanket across the state. It would be ensuring that any municipality or metro government could not make a blanket policy of just saying no hunting in our jurisdiction. So, no, certainly it would affect any municipality or jurisdiction across the state.
Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How I understand the legislation is not just for no hunting, but it says shall not regulate. So they wouldn't even be able to come up with things that were not in conflict with state law, but went a little step further. And so I'm just a bit perplexed because so often I hear up here that government closest to the people is the government we should listen to, local government. And I know we don't like Washington telling our state government what to do. I just always feel very uncomfortable when the state government is telling the local and county governments what to do. And that's why I was asking, because I was trying to figure out, like, if a local government is not in conflict with state law, but says, okay, we have a different way to regulate this. The state is saying, we don't care what the local government says. It's only the state, and the local government does not have that autonomy to do what is in the best interest of their constituents. I believe that the people of Monroe County, they elected their local government just like they elected us at the state government. And so their local government may be more aligned and more proximate to what they're facing in their county, as opposed to us in the state government where I live in Middle Tennessee. And why should I have more of a say over what happens in Monroe County than the people elected at the local level? That's my kind of dilemma here.
Leader Cochran.
And I appreciate that. And, it would be similar. Basically, so Tennessee has already established a commission, an agency that regulates hunting in the same way that while there are locally elected highway commissioners, there are also state standards to which you would have to build the highway, or even the patrolling of roads. Certainly that while even there are local roles there, the state as each subdivision is a division of the state of, a subdivision of the state of Tennessee, the state ultimately sets those guidelines. And in this case, the state already has an agency who its sole purpose, or one of its primary purposes, I should say, is the regulation of hunting. And so this is just reaffirming that fact that the state has established this agency to regulate hunting. And that should be the ultimate regulator of the activity.
Are there any other questions for the sponsor before we go to our guest?
I was going to call questions on the bill, but go ahead.
Well, we have a guest, if you don't mind. He's traveled here. I think it's important that we let those who've signed up to do that. At this time, before we take any more questions then, without objection, we'll go out of session and we will hear from John Cleveland, who is from Sweetwater, I believe. Mr. Cleveland, if you'll take a chair and a microphone, they'll turn it on for you, and we will give you 3 minutes, and perhaps there'll be a question that someone will have, but at this time, state your name and who you are, and the clock will begin when you begin.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman and members of the subcommittee. I am John Cleveland. I'm the city attorney for the city of Sweetwater. As you've already heard, there's been litigation between my city and 6 duck hunters that led to this. In fact, that's the sole instigator for this bill. I appear in opposition to House Bill 2017, which was filed in response to that challenge. The duck hunters challenging the ordinance were hunting in Sweetwater on a small beaver dam pond next to a street, a walking and bikeway greenway, a large subdivision, a high school, and several businesses on Main Street, all adjacent to the property where they wanted to hunt. Even though the hunters followed TWRA rules, there were numerous noise complaints from shooting at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, and shot landed on the roof of at least one home. The General Assembly already resolved this issue. In 2014, after the 2013 Attorney General's opinion that you've heard mentioned, a bill was introduced to amend 2 CA 3917-13-14 to preempt cities from regulating the use of firearms, which of course would include the discharge of firearms. That bill was amended, and as enacted, it expressly authorizes cities to regulate the discharge of firearms within its city limits, except when and where the discharge of firearms is expressly authorized or permitted by state law. It does not mention hunting. No state law expressly authorizes or permits hunting as an exception to municipal regulation of the discharge of firearms inside that city's limits. House Bill 2017 would completely repeal city's current authority to regulate discharge of firearms within its own city limits. This is inherently a local issue. Raccoon hunting may be very similar or identical in every place in the state, but at least 42 cities in Tennessee allow hunting, just as is asked for, without city regulation. At least 180 Tennessee cities regulate the discharge of firearms within their city limits. This bill would do away with that for all of those. And not all of those prohibit hunting. Those that find hunting in their city is appropriate limit hunting to organized hunts, to charitable hunts, to certain distances from roads, rights of way, churches, schools, homes, other structures, or larger tracts of land, to shooting, landing across property lines, to issue.
Mr. Cleveland, we're at the 3-minute mark. I'm going to give you another 10 seconds to wrap up.
All right. This is not a hunting issue. This is a public safety issue. And if hunters are allowed to invade our cities, eventually some adult or child is going to be injured or killed.
Thank you, Mr. Cleveland. And we have a couple of members that would like the floor. We're going to go with Representative Jones first to ask a question of our guest. And thank you for being here today and for your testimony.
Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Cleveland. I've never met you before, but I've spent some time in Sweetwater. I hate that the Dinner Bell closed. I spent a lot of time eating at the Dinner Bell restaurant down there. But my question was, because I just asked the sponsor if there's any examples of cities, and of course your city was mentioned, Monroe County, Sweetwater, but you said there's 180 cities that would be impacted by this legislation, and not, it's not about preventing hunting, but it's trying to regulate. I think what I wrote down is that you said there was shooting at 7 a.m. In the morning, and so it would prevent you from being able to prohibit that. So it's against the rights of the people who live there versus whatever the state law is trying to do. And so I'm just curious to see if this bill is passed, will you not be able to stop people from doing those hunting and the noise at 7 a.m. and also, I guess, the litter that would come in their property. So it's also a violation of their private property to have, some of the shells on their property that is left there as litter. Would it prevent you from regulating or creating ordinances about that?
Mr. Cleveland.
The shells landed on the roof of the house. They weren't litter. They were actually fired and shot onto the roof, over the roof of the house. It would prohibit all of that. The subsection A of the statute says that no municipality can enter in any way into the field of wildlife. And so it would completely eliminate all of that. And I might add, while this was raised by duck hunters, we don't regulate hunting, we regulate the discharge of the firearm. If there's bow, and this would include long arms fired at deer in our city even much more dangerous than this particular case. And we don't bar trapping. We don't bar bow hunting. It's only the discharge of a firearm that we bar.
Thank you, Mr. Cleveland. Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And is the litigation still pending, or has a decision been reached? And is that decision what this legislation is a response to? What was I don't know if you could speak.
Mr. Cleveland, you're recognized.
I apologize. It's currently pending before the Court of Appeals.
Now, recognize Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your time. So when I read the bill the first time to get ready for this, I read it through in the context of the question I asked while we're in session here regarding perhaps a city just preventing any hunting. And some of our cities have really large footprints. I'm pretty familiar with Sweetwater, but like Oak Ridge part of Oak Ridge is in my district. And from time to time, hunts take place with shotguns or with bows because of proximity to housing. And I would have to yield, Mr. Chairman, to remember specifically, but I think the state law is 100 yards for a rifle for hunting from a domicile, I think. And I say that with a big question mark. So I guess my big question for you is this, sir. Is it just about the noise, or is it about the hunting in general? And again, I'm not as familiar with your Sweetwater city limits. I apologize. Are there areas that are conducive to hunting in Sweetwater within the city limits?
Mr. Cleveland, you're recognized.
Not very large areas at all. If one were to stand at the side of a piece of property closest to the center of town and fire toward the city limit out into the county, there might be a few places, but very few, and none conducive to duck hunting. The law as it is now gives the cities the authority to regulate. It doesn't say they have to. There's 40 cities that do not regulate. And if any of them want to, but Oak Ridge is a lot different than Sweetwater, and that's why Oak Ridge municipal leaders should make that, voters should make that decision, and Sweetwater voters should make our decision.
Representative Fritz.
Thank you. I guess my last question for you, when your view of it, if I had a parcel of property in Sweetwater, Tennessee, several acres, and I could maintain what I think is that 100 yards or 100 meter requirement that TWRA requires, would I be able to hunt on my property if I owned it?
Mr. Cleveland, let me recognize you.
I can say with complete confidence that if you were in that situation, the mayor and the board of commissioners would welcome you to come before the board to amend our ordinance to allow hunting in that place. Nobody's asked us that. They've just come on there within the city and started hunting.
All right, with that, recognize Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned that this property that these hunters were on was adjacent to certain structures and features. What kind of proximity? You know, adjacent can mean a lot of things. It could be a mile away, but what kind of proximities do we have? Just curious.
Mr. Cleveland, you're recognized.
The high school parking lot is 159 feet away from this property. There is a major subdivision that is anywhere from 340 to 500 feet. There are apartments and businesses that are 550 feet away. And then there are a large number of businesses, including a church and a dentist office, that are around 600 feet away.
Chairman Todd, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Is this property that they were hunting on, is it zoned residential?
Mr. Cleveland, you're recognized.
It is zoned agricultural.
Chairman Todd.
No further questions.
Chairman Grills, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm just going to give you an instance of what I have to deal with back home. I own a piece of property right in the middle of Dyersburg. It's 100 acres. Not a house anywhere around it, but I can't hunt on it. Is that fair? Is that right? Is that in accordance with the Tennessee Constitution, in your opinion?
Mr. Cleveland, you're recognized.
The Tennessee Constitution gives the General Assembly the authority to regulate the gun rights, and also by separate amendment grants the General Assembly the authority to regulate hunting and wildlife. The way the law is right now, my answer would be that whether or not that's fair is between you and the Dyersburg City Council, and it should be left to you and the Dyersburg City Council and not for the state to make a broad. I would say, as I answered earlier, if it was Sweetwater, we would welcome a proposed amendment that would allow that. But we don't have any 100 acres with nothing around.
Chairman Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is not a hypothetical. This is real. I mean, but I find it ironic that the police department shooting range is right beside a residential area, and they are perfectly capable of going and practicing early on Saturday morning and preparing like they should. And that's perfectly fine. But if I were to go out and shoot one time at a deer, I'm breaking state law and I'm a nuisance to the community. And I think that's a little bit out of balance. And I do understand that. I think there's probably room to find a good compromise here. But I also think that there's an underlying problem that we're having in some of these places that Leader Cochran's trying to address. So that is a real instance. I wasn't planning on saying anything, but I also recognize that there are problems across the state that probably need some addressing, and I think that's what he's trying to do. So with that, no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions for our guest? Representative Stinnett.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. How large is the area of this piece of property that was involved?
Mr. Cleveland.
The total acreage is 17 acres. And it is, I would say, almost completely covered with water from a beaver dam.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Chairman Todd.
Hey, just to follow up, I got to thinking about the distances you gave a while ago. So were those distances from the very edge of the property or from where the hunters were shooting from?
Mr. Cleveland, you're recognized.
They're pretty at the edge of the property.
So if it's a 17 or 18 acre property and they're in the middle of it, those distances increase quite a bit then. So, and I think the state requirements, the TWRA requirements is 100 yards from a structure. So it sounds to me like they were well within the state law, just based on the numbers you gave, and which makes it odd. I mean, and certainly noise is one thing, but you know, we have the right in Tennessee to hunt fish by the Constitution. So I think that preempts somebody's, concern about noise. Unfortunately, I mean, if there was a baler running at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure they would complain as well. But again, that land, if there was hay on that property, that farmer would obviously have the right to do that, no matter how much noise it produced. So I just, it's hard for me to side with you, and especially it's already been mentioned that cities and counties are subdivisions of the state. So the state law preempts. And I think in this situation, we're just clarifying what probably, as far as I know, has been the practice across the state for a long, long time, that the state law preempts and we're not able to regulate this activity within the city limits. But enforce, certainly if somebody's not abiding by the state rules and regulations, then that should be enforced without a doubt. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a few follow-up questions. Were the folks involved in this litigation, were they residents of Sweetwater or were they from outside the county?
Mr. Cleveland.
None of them are residents of Sweetwater or Monroe County, either one.
I think
Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think what I'm hearing here, so you're having people who don't even live in a community going and not respecting that community, and yet we're saying that their rights trump the rights of the people who live there. The solution that I hear, Representative Grills talked about a compromise. The solution I hear now is if someone is unhappy with what's happening at the city level, they can always go to the city council. They can run for city council. They can challenge those city council members and say, okay, you're not going to let us hunt here, then we can replace you. But I think what this legislation is doing is kind of taking a sledgehammer to something that requires a much more precise and fine county by county solution. And instead we're saying we're going to take the sledgehammer of the state and just do a one size fits all. Right now, there is a solution that each county government and city government can amend their rules. They can listen to their constituents, but to say that somebody from outside a county can come in and disrespect a community and do whatever they want against the interests of that community, to me, I don't think that's what our founders in our Constitution here in Tennessee had in mind. And so I really believe in home rule. I believe in local government. And I think that there is a solution. If you don't like the fact that you are having issues in your personal land, you can go to your county commission, you can go to your city council, find exceptions, find ways to expand the law and the ordinance there. But this is instead saying that we're going to just treat every county the same and not even respect these 180 Tennessee cities who said we want to have some form of ordinance that will regulate the sound or discharge of shellings on our roofs, and we're saying that you can't do that. I think that's a bit hypocritical of us as a body, and so I don't know if I can support this legislation. And I appreciate you coming up here to talk about this issue and giving us more information.
Chairman Grills, your name was invoked. Do you need to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will say this. I did get involved. I did run for county commission and I won, and then I ran for state representative, and I'm up here trying to change laws to get them back into a more constitutional compliance position. So I think that's what I'm supposed to do, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going to support Representative or Leader Cochran's bill here in just a few minutes. So with that, that's my answer.
Representative Fritz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your patience. Just one more question, sir, and thank you for your time and answering all the questions. And not trying to get into the lawsuit part of it, but were the folks hunting on public lands or private lands, and did they have permission if they were on either?
Mr. Cleveland, you're recognized.
3 of the 6 duck hunters contacted the city of Sweetwater before they did anything, asked whether or not where ordinance allowed hunting and whether it would be enforced. They were informed that the ordinance did not allow hunting and the ordinance would be enforced. Then they purchased this property within the city limits after having been warned and proceeded to duck hunt. It is privately owned.
Representative Fritz?
I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Cleveland, thank you for coming. At this time, we are going to go back into session and
Sponsor, you are recognized for any additional comments that you have.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. I appreciate the thoughtful questions. I did just want to emphasize this is really not my attempt to relitigate whatever has occurred there in Sweetwater, but I do think that case brought to light a deficiency that we need to clarify. If that judge was saying that there was something that was unclear in state law, when I feel like it's been the intention of this body over many years that it is the state of Tennessee that regulates hunting, I think that's the purpose of this, to just make it extremely clear in code that we have an agency that regulates this and that the state ultimately has supremacy in this issue.
All right. Do we have any questions? Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sponsor. Is there a particular individual organization that brought this legislation, or did it come out organically? Where did the legislation come from?
Leader Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, obviously, it's extremely close to my district. It's an issue that I've been aware of. I mean, as far as an organization that does support it, certainly the Tennessee Wildlife Federation does support this legislation. But it's an issue that came to my attention because I live very closely to it.
Representative Jones.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I know you work for, I think, Chief of Staff for the local government where you serve. Have you spoken to any of the local governments there in your district, or because I would like more time to speak to my local government to see how this would impact them. But have you spoken to any local governments, and are any local governments in your area supportive of this legislation?
Leader Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have. I've spoken to the Sweetwater City Manager, and we will continue to discuss as the legislation moves through the process. But we have a very good relationship. And again, just want to emphasize again, this is not any kind of target at the city of Sweetwater, even though that particular case did bring this deficiency to light. This is not an attack on that city. This is just ensuring that there's a uniform application of the law statewide.
Okay. Representative Jones for the final follow-up.
Thank you. From my understanding, Sweetwater, Monroe County is in Representative Russell's district. And so my question was, have you spoken to any local governments in your district? I know East Tennessee pretty well, and I know that's in Representative Russell's district. Is there anybody locally in your county government, any ordinance that not ordinance, any resolution they've passed supporting this, or any local governments in your district supportive of this explicitly?
Leader Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They have not, but to clarify, the city of Sweetwater is partially in McMinn County. So yes, it is partially in my district. Sweetwater.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to Representative Alexander.
Thank you. And thank you, Leader Cochran, for bringing this to us. I think it's a good idea to have TWRA managing the hunting across the state so that when hunters go from one county to another county, they know what the rules are. And I also have a question. I'm assuming that what happened in Sweetwater is some bad actors as far as, asking permission if they could hunt and then going hunting after they were told they could not. So I'm just asking, I'm assuming TWRA manages that. They watch for bad actors like that. Is that correct?
Leader Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My assumption would be yes. I mean, obviously, if there was, a direct infraction, one of the rules, one of the regulations, the laws that was brought up earlier is you have to be, at least 100 yards away from a dwelling, things like that. If there were evidence that someone, was violating, if they were violating those regulations, certainly, TWRA would act. Again, that's what we charge them to do from the General Assembly. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Leader, you did say that the people who were hunting on the property owns the property.
Leader Cochran.
Yes, sir. That's correct. But I will say, so I'm not saying that everyone that was hunting are co-owners, but yes, that one of the owners was that he was participating, and it may be co-owned by a couple of those hunters. But yes, it privately owned. They had permission from the private property owner to hunt there.
Representative Shaw.
Were they in compliance with the law in terms of being 100 feet away from whatever they needed to be at the time, since it was their property? Or were they out of compliance.
Leader Cochran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative, to the best of my knowledge, that they received no violation or ticket from TWRA. But I did just want to emphasize again, this is really not me trying to go at the city of Sweetwater or even particularly defend these specific hunters, even though this specific instance did bring this issue to my attention. Absolutely, it did. But I think it did bring up a situation where we need to make sure that this is very clear in state law, not just for Sweetwater, but for every government across the state. So I appreciate the questions on this specific scenario, but I want you to know that my intent is to make sure that we're clear statewide across the board, not just for this specific instance.
Representative Shaw.
And I understand you, Chairman. I think what I was getting at was, but it was their property. And I'm just wondering if they were violating in any way on their property. Not that you are bringing the legislation for them at all. You're just trying to clear this up. But I'm just wondering if there were any violations on their property. It was what I was getting at.
And let me say this, Leader Cochran, I'm going to recognize you. Those are valid questions, but I don't know that they're really about this particular bill. That situation might have brought the impetus to bring this bill, but they're not, litigating that is not really what our purpose is. I'll yield to you, Leader Cochran.
No, thank you, Chairman. I think that's well stated, and Representative Shaw, I don't have that specific detail, but I think that's well stated, Chairman.
We do not have any other questions at this time, so without objection, we're going to vote at this time. See no further questions. Clerk, would you open the vote? Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes, 1 nay.
House Bill 2017 moves to full committee. This time we go back to House Bill 1632 by Representative Langford, we've already got the motion. He has been educated in the last 30 minutes and is ready to answer the questions that were presented. The floor is yours, Representative Langford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the opportunity to consult with the department. I can now confidently inform the committee that TCE contains 3 chlorine molecules while PCE contains 4. The third that I failed to mention on your prior question is petroleum, and that varies based on substance.
Thank you, Mr. Langford. Are there any other questions? Mr. Langford, we're going to get to that. I want to know, this is your first bill in this subcommittee, is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, it is.
And I noticed that when you came here that you had an amazing pressed suit that you have for today. And I want to commend you for that. But did you have it dry cleaned before you presented this bill on dry cleaning?
I actually picked it up yesterday. Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Did you take it to Wow Dry Cleaners on Fort Campbell Boulevard?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you take it to Eagle Plaza Dry Cleaners on Tiny Town Road?
No, sir, I did not.
Is there another dry cleaner that's in your district I'm not aware of?
No, sir, there is not.
Okay, so I just thought that was good for the folks back home to know about that. I'm not sure why you didn't take it to a cleaner since you had a bill on cleaning in your district, but I'll let you and the good people of your district figure that one out. Are there any other questions? We'll recognize Chairman Grills.
Question on the bill.
Questions being called for. Mr. Clerk, would you please open up the board for voting? All right, has everyone voted? Does any member need to change their vote? If not, Mr. Clerk, please announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 9 ayes, 0 nays.
House Bill 1632 moves to full committee, and Mr. Langford, you did an excellent job. We're very proud of you, and we're so glad to have you in the General Assembly. Now we're going to be moving to House Bill 1846 by Representative Butler. There's a motion and a second. It's the 5th item on our agenda. Representative Butler, you have the motion and the second. Would you please at this time explain your bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think one of my previous colleagues used some good adjectives. This is a delightful, wonderful bill. And it simply removes the rollback taxes that a person would be penalized to pay if their property is taken out of Greenbelt. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions? Representative Jones.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Thank you for being here, sponsor. This is the first time I've ever gotten a letter from my property assessor here in Davidson County asking me to vote against legislation, and I just wanted to share some concerns and kind of get your response to it. Our assessor of property here for Davidson County says that the Greenbelt program is designed to preserve agricultural forests and open space land by offering a significant tax benefit through reduced assessments. Rollback taxes are a critical component of the program because they ensure fairness by recapturing tax savings for only 3 years, which is more than fair when land is converted to development or sold at market value. Protect other taxpayers from absorbing the cost of long-term preferential treatment, which is rightfully so intended for the farmers. And 3, maintain the integrity and original intent of the Greenbelt program. Without a rollback provision limited to 3 years, property owners may benefit from reduced taxes for extended periods and then sell at full market value without returning any of the public subsidy received. This would create a clear inequity and shift the tax burden to other property owners. Do you have any response to this?
Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, and it's just not necessarily a simple answer. So you get a discount, as the representatives indicated, when you're in Greenbelt, which is a benefit to the community for that to be in farm use, agricultural use, et cetera. And so when that property comes out of Greenbelt and goes back to whether it's a commercial rate or residential rate, that tax rate increases. So that the county is getting a increase in revenue once it comes out of Greenbelt. There's no need to penalize somebody after the fact when the property will be at a higher tax rate when it comes out of Greenbelt. The whole point in Greenbelt was, one, to reward the property owner for keeping it in a agricultural use for others to enjoy. Well, while they're enjoying it, they're getting the discounted tax rate. That is correct. But when it comes out of the Greenbelt and it goes into commercial, for example, it goes from a reduced residential rate, for lack of a better way to explain it, to a 40% rate. So they're automatically going to get more revenue out of that property when it comes out of Greenbelt. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Jones.
So you don't believe that the tax burden will be shifted by eliminating this program or this type of provision? Do you think that it won't shift the tax burden? To be quite honest, I was not familiar with this until our property assessor here brought it to my attention. And I'm not an expert on this, but I just wanted to bring up the concerns from my county as to why our assessor of property who's elected is against this. And so that was the part that kind of was a red flag for me about the shifting the burden.
Representative Butler.
Well, they're getting the discount right now as we speak. Folks are in Greenbelt. I mean, I have property in Greenbelt myself. My farm is in Greenbelt. And so they're not receiving the taxes now. So there is no tax burden shifted to anybody because currently they're already receiving that tax benefit now. Matter of fact, the counties get an increase in the revenue they generate from taxes when this property goes into a higher tax bracket or tax category, whether it be a full residential or a commercial. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Jones.
My
follow-up.
Yeah, my final question. Thank you. And so just for my clarity, I don't know what part of the county you represent, but is the assessor property in your county okay with this, or have they been supportive of this change since they're the ones who oversees a lot of these programs?
Representative Butler.
In Morgan County, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I represent 5 counties. I have one of the largest house districts in the state, but I have not talked to my assessors. I didn't run this for my assessors. I ran this for my constituents. That's who we are elected to represent, and that's what I'm doing.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. I'll yield to Chairman Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've had 3 concerns about this that we've talked about. First, would it increase the sale or conversion of farmland to other developments? Second, funding. What funding is the county going to see an increase or decrease in? And third, that contractor agreement that a person has with the county when they put it in Greenbelt. After talking to you and listening to your answers, I don't know that sale of farmland or conversion is going to be increased or decreased. I think that's probably already factored in right now when somebody is wanting to change the use. They already know there's going to be that cost. So I don't know that it will affect that. The funding, you've answered that just now. Again, with, I looked in my county, Madison County, over the last 5 years has seen revenue, Greenbelt revenue of the rollback taxes from $50,000 a year to $150,000. And so not a lot of money for my county's budget, but to your point, I would think once it converts to a different use, then they're going to have a much more increase in revenue than that. And then third, the contract, the affidavit that a person signs agreeing to Greenbelt when they sign up for Greenbelt, that they know there's going to be rollback taxes. But as I delved into that a little bit, the wording is actually may be subject to rollback taxes. So, and that's from the comptroller's office, what they have approved for counties to present to a landowner. And so considering that, first thought, well, we're possibly making a law that changes a contract. But I see with that wording, that one word, may versus shall, changed my mind. So I just wanted you to know that I certainly support this now after answering those questions. So thank you.
Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate those comments. The counties that I do represent, my home county, Overton, I did reach out to my property assessor just to see what the rollback taxes were for 1 year. I did not ask her about this particular bill because they wasn't drafted at the time. However, they do not, or at least the counties that I represent that I've talked to, don't include the rollback taxes in their budget because they don't know what it's going to be from year to year. It's basically bonus money if they get it. But with that, I'll yield back to Mr. Chairman.
Representative Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, sponsor. And thank you, Chairman. I told you my worries about this bill. And my feeling is, would someone taking it out of the green belt, shouldn't they be liable for those rollback taxes? That way the counties aren't hurt. It's a person that's decided they're not going to farm that anymore. It's a gift to our farmers to be able to do this. And with us losing farmland minute by minute by minute, then anyone deciding to take it out of the green belt should be willing to pay those taxes at the time of the purchase.
Representative Butler.
Chair, to address your question, Representative, the seller is the one that pays the penalty when he or she sells it. Now that can be contractually shifted to the buyer, which sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. That's obviously between the agreement between those two individuals and what they negotiated. But I'll just stop there. Thank you.
Representative Alexander for follow-up.
And my county has a lot of angst about this, taking it out. So there you go. Thank you.
Representative Butler.
Thank you for your comments, and I appreciate our discussion. I will offer one more thing, and so if somebody has the property in Greenbelt, they have to meet the Greenbelt qualifications. It has to be some type of agricultural use, whether it's timber or pasture, row crop, depending on where you are in the state. But potentially, if it's developed, the rollback taxes add to the cost of the property, and so that drives the cost up. And so this could potentially help us in reducing the cost of land, the raw land use for a development, and therefore helping us with affordable housing. I mean, I'm not saying it's the end-all be-all solution, but it does help reduce the upfront cost of the raw property before it's developed. With that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
Representative Fritz. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for bringing the bill. I just offer this. Oftentimes we get accustomed to collecting taxes, and we in the government think that we have a right to do that. So I appreciate that you're pushing back on that a little bit. I think it is going to help. I think there's an economic stimulus that comes in this. When we don't penalize the citizen with taxes, that citizen puts their money into the economy in other ways. So I appreciate you doing it. I'm sure most of the people that have green belts are going to love you for this. I didn't hear a question in that, so I'm going to move to Vice Chairman Stinnett.
Chairman, my concern is not the revenue. We know that there's going to be more money, but my position is that the Greenbelt is to try to save farmland, and if we do away with the rollback, we're encouraging farmers to sell their property and build more homes. So that's my issue, and we and I got another question, and you may not be able to answer it, but Representative Chairman Todd may be able to. Can a individual county roll back its rollback? Is it done by 95 counties or is it something statewide?
Representative Butler, I'm going to let you answer that, and then Chairman Todd's name was invoked in case he wants to say something.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield to Chairman Todd before I answer.
Todd, you don't have to, but he did mention your name, and the rules say that you get the opportunity to speak.
I would say in answer to that question, based on my conversations with my trustee and our property assessors, with the wording that is in the application for Greenbelt, that they have to. It is that I don't think it's permissive. Now, it says may, so I don't know if that's ever been interpreted to mean that that individual county can say, we're going to forego that. I don't know that answer, but it does say may be subject to rollback taxes.
All right, Representative Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to address your concerns, I don't think that it's going to encourage, if this bill passes, which I hope it does, or I'm going to run it, I have property in Greenbelt, and I can assure you I'm not selling it. I bought the farm next to me to ensure that it didn't get developed. And that's usually my comment if somebody complains about a development, well, then buy the property so it doesn't get developed. And I bought the farm next to me to keep it from getting developed and kept it in Greenbelt. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
All right, let me say this just procedurally. We have about 25 minutes left, and we have a presentation, some people that have come to prepare at the end. So if we can wrap this up, that would really be helpful. Chairman Grills.
I will just call question on the bill.
Question's been called. Thank you, Chairman Grills. Clerk, would you open the voting for us? Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk, take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes, 3 nays.
House Bill 1846 moves to full committee. Thank you. House Bill 898 by Chairman Todd. There's a motion, there's a second. It's the final item on our agenda. And Chairman Todd, please give us. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. Well, there is an amendment filed for the bill. Do we have a motion, a second on the amendment? Second. Chairman Todd, please give us your drafting code and the explanation for the amendment. What is the drafting code?
The drafting code is 12987.
That is correct.
And it just changes the effective date.
Thank you.
Updates that for this year.
All right. Do we have any question on the amendment? If there's no objections, we'll go ahead and put the amendment on the bill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by no. The ayes have it. The amendment goes on the bill. The bill is properly before us. Chairman Todd, please explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The easiest one of the day. This bill requires only those water districts who purchase and utilize fluoridated water to obtain a certificate of analysis detailing the water sample's quality by listing test results for fluoride and fluoride levels. The water district shall post the certificate and the material safety data sheet on their website. If they don't have a website, they will share that information with the Tennessee Board of Utility Regulations website, which is housed and maintained by the Comptroller's Office. With that, I renew my motion.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Are there any questions from the committee for the presenter? All right. If there's no further questions, we'll ask the clerk to take the vote. Open up the board. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 9 ayes, 0 nays.
House Bill 898 moves to the full committee, and we have to say that Chairman Todd, you were absolutely right. That was the easiest bill of the day. Lastly, we have a presentation from the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, and without objection, we'll go out of session to hear from Keith Carver, the Senior Vice Chancellor, Senior Vice President. Mr. Carver, if you would come to the front and take a seat, we look forward to your presentation that you've prepared, and I'm sorry the hour is drifted this late, but it is what it is.
No, that's okay. We certainly appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. Committee members, thank you. It's an honor to be back again this year. Just wanted to give you
Please state your name.
Yes, Keith Carver.
Thank you.
Carver. You bet. Just wanted to give you all a brief update. Our largest industry in the state is agriculture, forestry, and natural resources. And really wanted to just take a brief opportunity to tell you all what the university is doing through the Institute of Agriculture to support Tennessee's leading industry. So thank you so much for your time. Our mission is really simple. It's just to provide real life solutions for Tennesseans. As an extension of the land grant university, we feel like we need to take care of the health and well-being of all Tennesseans, and we certainly can do that through the life sciences and agriculture. But our vision and what gets us excited and gets us out of bed today is we want to aspire to improve the lives of Tennesseans and beyond, one discovery, one community, one classroom, one home, and one farm at a time. And we take that seriously. UT Ag Research, we are really looking at farming for the future. And I know when I look around this body and I see the districts that are represented here, there's a lot of folks that are impacted by agriculture. And we also know that our farmers, especially those in production agriculture, are having a tough time right now. And so one of the primary missions of our Ag Research program is to really look how we can use technology, precision agriculture, predictive analytics, AI, to make farming more effective and efficient and help our farmers be able to turn a profit once again. And that's something we take very seriously. We've got 10 ag research farms across the state, and one's probably very close to you in your backyard, but we're farming 41,000 acres at the University of Tennessee in research farms, and to make sure we can take those discoveries back out to our communities, and we're proud to do that. UT Extension is in all 95 counties, and a lot of times when you think about Extension, you think about 4-H. That's critically important. You think about ag and natural resource agencies helping our farmers, helping our communities with their gardens and grass. But also, we've got family and consumer science specialists in every county working with youth, working with first-time home buyers in financial literacy, but also working with our elderly in how to manage their finances in their elder years. And so when you think about what that looks like over the course of the year, our agents across 95 counties had 158,000 on-site visits, and those are homes, those are farms, those are schools. They're extension agents taking programs to the people. But also, when you look at our online resources, if you want to learn how to keep beetles off your roses, if you want to learn about calves and calf production, you can get online and download videos, resources that'll help the farmer, help the young family, and help the homeowner. And again, just about 18 million downloads of resources. The biggest thing I want to stress to you is we're in the future business in education, but having 154,000 4-H members in Tennessee is fantastic. That's the largest number of 4-H members anywhere in the country, and we're awful proud of that. And those young people learning incredible leadership skills. I want to talk about the College of Veterinary Medicine, obviously the only comprehensive college and teaching hospital and clinic in the state, and truly excited about that. But wanted to give you a special update that we weren't doing last year that we are doing now. We're working across East Tennessee, and we're going to expand this eventually into Middle and West Tennessee, where we're operating our service dogs. If a canine police dog, fire dog gets injured in the line of duty, working with Erlanger, we're able to helivac them in to the hospital and treat them immediately, because it's so important. Those canine officers are so valuable to our state. It's been fantastic in East Tennessee, and again, want to spread that to Middle and West, but really want to take care of our canines in the line of duty. The Herbert College of Agriculture, just finally, it's the largest number of agriculture students at the University of Tennessee. And you think about 160 years of teaching agriculture in Knoxville, this being the highest, we're happy with that. Ag jobs are hot in this area. Lot of opportunities in the life sciences, and so while we do think about farming and farm operations and helping our farmers in production agriculture, we're also graduating plant scientists and soil scientists and animal scientists and food scientists, areas that we think are going to be really important for the future, especially as we look at our food and making sure we have safe, affordable, quality food that's accessible for all Tennesseans. And we're extremely proud about that. Our largest major may not be a surprise, but it's animal science. You have a lot of students that come through, want to study animal science. Some look to go on to vet school. Others look to go straight into industry, but by far with 489 undergrads studying that, it's our largest. So when we think about, as I wrap up, when we think about food, we really think about feeding the world. And something that I've talked about with Representative Grills here in the United States, we really have fallen behind in terms of food production and what we're able to produce and being able to feed our society. And then we know that there are countries around the world that need our help. And so we're really working with some good partners overseas to share technology about agriculture. And what we're also learning, I was in Cambodia a year ago in January, and we can learn a thing or two from our friends in Cambodia about how to grow in extreme drought. Representative Shaw, extremely smart group of folks over there that are doing more with less. And so if we're going to feed the world, we need to share our best practices and we need to pick up their best practices. And it's good for everyone. Last year, 127 members of the Institute traveled internationally to take our best practices elsewhere, but also to get educated. But when you think about students, 139 last year went to areas in Cambodia, Brazil, Costa Rica, Australia, just great places to go and learn and grow. We also do a lot in terms of emergency response, and this was really brought to light with everything that happened after Hurricane Helene. And we were very fortunate in those 9 counties to have extension offices, which were able to work with TEMA and FEMA, with local law enforcement to really become not just distribution hubs, but also doing on the ground work. And as you see that picture to the right is working with some farmers in Upper East Tennessee doing soil studies to figure out what are you going to be able to grow here again, and what can we do to remediate some of the silt and sand that's come in so that you can turn a crop again. And so we're really excited about that. And then below, that's Dr. Tom Tabler, just down in Spring Hill, working our Middle Tennessee Research Center, and he's working with poultry industry and poultry farmers all over the state and helping them out. And so we think that's our responsibility, is to go out and get this great research, but also just take it right back to the ag and natural resources community. Final thing we want to throw out is this summer, you guys have seen a lot about FIFA, the World Cup. It's watched by about 2 billion people worldwide. Well, the University of Tennessee and the Institute of Agriculture has been commissioned to grow the turf for all 16 of those stadiums. And so it's got to have the same bounce. It's got to have the same pitch. The grass has got to be exactly the same, whether we're growing it outdoors in Vancouver all the way down to indoors in Atlanta, Georgia. And so University of Tennessee is very proud to have our plant scientists working on that technology to develop the fields in all those stadiums. Really interesting fact, SoFi Stadium out in Los Angeles has no irrigation and has no draining because it's completely domed. And so basically bringing in the technology, it looks like you're stacking up 2 milk crates to play on, but they can irrigate it and drain natural grass in that stadium. So real proud of our researchers, but the work we're doing on turf grass is also going to help our farmers and our homeowners too. So extremely excited about that work. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll yield my time in case there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carver. We have exactly 4 minutes left. And so whatever questions we have, let's be to the point. Chairman Grills, you were recognized first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be real quick here. There's a huge disconnect today with America's population about safe food and what their family consumes on a regular basis. Representative Shaw has a bill this year he's trying to work on, and I support him in that effort. But is there a concentrated effort with the University of Tennessee Institution of Ag and the Tennessee Department of Agriculture to go out and combat some of these narratives out there that what the farmer is raising in Tennessee is killing their kids or killing the population? Is there an effort being put forth to put out proper and accurate information, science-based information, and kill some of these conspiracy theories that are floating around?
Yes, sir. We have all 95 extension offices have that material. We're constantly through Family and Consumer Sciences and also through our Food Sciences Department doing research, putting that out there for consumption any way we can. But we have become a resource in providing facts when we have arguments like that coming up. And we're always happy to study new things too.
And in the essence of time, I'm going to move to another question. If there's Representative Fritz, you had a question, if you could make it briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate your time today. Running manufacturing operations, we always try to keep some kind of health dashboard. So for our soil and water and drought conditions and all, be interested, not right now, but I look at what that dashboard is and how do we rate the soil health, pH, metals, content from some of those things that we may be exposed to. How does it look and how does it look for the future? I'd be interested in that.
Really be happy to come back and present some of that if you would have me.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Carver. We are up on our time that we're at. I'm going to take it this time. We're going to go back into session and we're going to entertain a motion to adjourn. But before we do that, I've failed to introduce Mr. Nick Jordan, who's my legislative assistant, and I'm glad to have him up here with me. He helps me tremendously at that time. Courtney Fowler, the law clerk with the Office of Legal Services, assisting on the legal team here in the Ag Subcommittee. So thank you very much. All right, we have a motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, say aye. We're adjourned.